All right, so as you can see, we're working on systems of equations, and these are going to be the word problems. I know sometimes word problems give you a little hard time, but once we can write the equations, you can see solving them is just like we've been doing. Nothing to it. So let's get started. Let's take a look. So here's the first word problem we're going to deal with. Senior class at Quantic Township High School and Caldwell High School plan separate trips to New York City for their entire school. The senior class at Quantic Township High School rented and filled one van and 6 buses with 372 students. Caldwell High School rented and filled 4 vans and 12 buses with 780 students. Each van and each bus carry the same number of students each time. How many students can a van carry and how many students can a bus carry? So this is a very typical system of equations problem. So let's write our equations first. First we'll do the Quantic Township High School. And let's see, we have 1 van, 6 buses, 372 students. So let's write that. We have 1 van plus 6 buses, and that carried a total of 372 students. And then for Caldwell High School, we had 4 vans and 12 buses, and they carried a total of 780 students. Okay, so we look at this problem, and we could see this problem, you could use elimination, you could use substitution, you would not want to use graphing. So I guess let's do it with substitution, and then we'll come back maybe and do it with elimination as well. So to substitute, we're going to take this equation and just manipulate it a little bit. 1v is the same as v, so we're going to write v plus 6b is equal to 372, and then we would subtract 6b from both sides, because remember, when we're going to substitute, we need to have one of the variables isolated. Okay, so that's our equation. We just rearranged it a little bit. All right, so let's substitute in and see what happens. So we know now v is equal to negative 6b plus 372. So we'll substitute it right in here for this v. And we get 4, and then negative 6b plus 372 plus 12b is equal to 780. Okay, so now all we have to do is distribute that out, and let's see what happens with that. So we're going to get negative 24b, and then plus, that's going to be 1488 plus 12b is equal to 780. Let's combine our like terms, and we'll get negative 12b plus 1488 is equal to 780. Okay, so now we have no more distributive property. We have no more combining like terms. It's time to actually solve the equation. So we'll do that. We'll move the constant. So subtract 1488 from both sides. Negative 12b is equal to negative 780. Now, I know a lot of times when you guys are doing this, you see something like this, like a negative 12b, and you start to kind of panic because you know I can't have negative people on a bus. But don't panic until you see what you get on the other side, because as long as this one is negative as well, you should be thinking, you know what, I'm going to have a negative divided by a negative, I'll be good. I'm not going to have a problem there. Which in this case is exactly what we have. So let's divide by negative 12. So b is going to be, what is b going to be? B is going to be 59. Okay, so that means that 59 students on a bus. What we have to do now is we have to go back to the original equation. Again, knowing b is 59. We'll go back to the original equation, and you can substitute into either this one or this one. Okay, I would suggest the top one, but, you know, it doesn't matter. You could do either one. And we have v plus 6b is 372. So we have v plus 6b is 372. And then we'll substitute in 59 for b. So v plus 6 times 59 equals 372. Okay, so that's going to be v, and that's going to be, not equals, sorry about that, v plus 354 equals 372, and then we'll subtract 354 from both sides, and we'll get v is going to be equal to 18. So what that tells us is that we could put 18 students on a van, in a van, and then we could put 59 students in a bus. And that's how you would solve the problem using substitution. I think it makes sense for us to go through this problem, and we'll do this problem using elimination, so you could see how it works both ways. Okay, so here you can see we have our problem, we have the equations written, and all we're going to do is we're going to use substitution this time. I'm sorry, we're going to use elimination instead of substitution this time. So hopefully you could see it would be easy to eliminate either of the variables, but we're going to eliminate the b. Because if I multiply this top equation by a -2, okay, now I'm going to get -2v minus 12b is equal to 744. So what I've done is I've arranged to eliminate b, because now I have positive 12b and a negative 12b, and those are just going to drop out. So that leaves me with 2v over here is equal to 36, and then divide by 2, and v is equal to 18. So you can see how quickly we found out how the van worked. Okay, now, what most people do at this point is they know v equals 18. They'll go back and they'll substitute in to that first equation to find out what b is. But that's not really true elimination. True elimination is when you eliminate both variables. So we've eliminated the first one. We tried it first eliminating b. Now we're going to rewrite the problem, and we're going to eliminate the v this time. So just bear with me while I rewrite the problem. Okay, so now we're going to eliminate our v term. And what that means is we're going to multiply the top equation now by -4. Right? You understand why we're doing -4? Because what are we looking to have happen? Right, we're looking to get a -4v to go with the positive 4v, so the v's will drop out. So -4v here, -24b, and then that's going to be your -1488. Okay, so again, I have my two equations here. You could see this time, hopefully, that your v is going to drop out. And we'll be left with -12b equals -708. And then divide by -12. And b is equal to 59. Okay, so now, this is time for you to judge. What do you think is the better way for this particular problem? Okay, we did it with substitution. We did it with elimination. You have to weigh for yourself what you think is the better way. I know for me, I think it was probably a better elimination problem than a substitution problem, although it wasn't a really difficult substitution problem. But you have to make that determination. So when we look at a problem like this after we've written the equation, you want to look to see what kind of problem is it? Is it set up for elimination? Is it set up for substitution? In this case, it wasn't set up for either one, but it was easy to manipulate it into one of the other forms. So you can see how we did it first with substitution, right? We were able to do that by subtracting the 6b from both sides and getting v by itself. And you can see how we eliminated just by multiplying one of the equations. We didn't even have to multiply both equations. So hopefully this gives you a little insight on how to do a word problem that has to do with systems of equations. Thanks for watching.